to a target to shoot at.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, nah, not gonna happen. One of the guys is almost double my pangolin score, so that just gives you an idea.
Okay, then
Ouch.
stars to dream of.
Okay, I gotta find out what's this Pango score you get. Time to get humbled.
It's so I was hitting around 2.5, 2.6. Or on Pango or on Groundhog?
Oh god. Oh. Let's just do Groundhog for today. I don't want my ego bruised too much. I'll wait for next week
So
for Pango.
Groundhog has been was like 2.5, 2.6. It's dropping more like 2.2 to 2.4 now. So,
Jeez.
Yeah, but yeah, these guys are very strong. Let me just put it to you that way.
Well, I got some exciting news. Finally, about time. Thank you, event. Actually, finally unlocked the last meteorite evolution, and finally got my awakening back to the level it was supposed to be. Whew. Right away, I can see a difference.
Didn't wait for Reapmaster.
It'll probably be years till I be able to get Reapmaster again. Or watch. Next hatch day, I'll get it. Oh boy, oh boy. So Jake Dog, what Groundhog score did you get?
I was hitting around the 400s today. I think my best was 440.
Nice.
440 mil, not quite a bill yet.
It definitely takes a while.
What? I mean, you're like in a much newer server, bro.
Yeah, yeah.
Wait, you're a shooter main or a carrier main?
Carrier.
Oh, so 440 is a pretty good score.
Very solid.
Yeah, especially being in a newer server. Carriers it's a pain with Groundhogs for carriers.
Especially Guardians.
Well, Guardians for sure, but I mean, both of those you suffer in the beginning, but then once you're more developed, it becomes a game changer.
Right, big time.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't really have any.
I get smacked around by carrier mains all the time, so.
Yeah, my setup's mostly PvP oriented. I don't really focus on the Groundhog or the Pangolin.
Yeah, that's me too. I mean, my highest on Groundhog right now is like just a little over 1 billion. But I mean, it's a pain for carriers.
Always a struggle, bro. Always a struggle.
Oh, that's for sure.
Well, yeah, no, it's about that time.
Yeah.
To go, Jim.
I just wanted you to finish what you were saying because didn't want to interrupt. But yeah, it's time to introduce the stage and get the day started. I want to thank everyone for coming to our Sunday live stage. We got a little bit of housekeeping to do prior to us getting into discussion. I want to remind everyone to post their live ID in our live ID channel in order to get a small little gift from Fairy. If you have any suggestions or topics that you're interested in us discussing on stage, we do have a suggestion channel that you can post there and we will bring them up and have a discussion. I want to also remind everyone that the hand is not waving as much as we like waves. It's if you're interested in coming up on stage and talking live or asking your question live. What else am I trying to remember all the things today? Oh, I also want to say that we do stream on YouTube and Twitch. So you can also follow us and watch us live there. And we also have a TikTok. So please feel free to subscribe and like our stuff over there. And I think that is all of the things so far for our housekeeping. I guess it's time to get the show on the go and welcome Sol, our host, and Draco, our co-host this week.
Well, guys, first thing we want to cover today on stage is going to be pretty much a wrap up of the update. Last week, prior to stage, they had announced that they were going to update a few things in the game. We've now seen that update come to fruition. The first thing I kind of want to cover is the new Insect Commander medal. They announced that this was coming. We didn't know exactly which insects, but we had a rough idea, and it turns out they are the insects that were expected. The buff that it is giving is all soldier ants attack, which I think it goes from 2% to 8% maybe increase. And if you have all three of these insects, interestingly enough, in the last event that occurred, the cave exploration, we saw Rainbow Scarab being offered at a lower price than in the past. Now, where that is pretty significant is that the time between when an insect release and it being offered in an event at a discount has typically been almost a year in the past. This is now closed up to more like a 7-month situation, which is good news for players that may not spend as much in the game. You'll be able to get higher generation insects much quicker, it looks like, going forward. I'm sure it had a lot to do with the new Guardian insect being offered, but and the fact that Rainbow Scarab is technically universal with Guardian synergy. So I think that there may be now shortening of the distance between when this happens. And where that will be significant also is as these insects become available in a discounted fashion, other insects may be available free to play or through the release in the stages program, or maybe like in the insect packs, which is an even further discount. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But I do think that there is almost a speeding up of the game going on with some of the stuff that they're doing here. What do you think, Draco? Is that what you're feeling on it, or do you think that this might be a one-off situation because of the release of the insect during the Kumoku event?
Honestly, it does feel pretty rushed, to be honest, because you did mention before that it takes a while for generations to drop in price, and right now, like, seeing Scarab being dropped in price and knowing players have obtained it not too long ago, like, me personally, I'm not too happy about it, but it seems like they're really trying to rush out there, get these insects going, and I'm not too sure if they're doing this so that newer servers can start catching up on the insects and also the special ants that servers like myself and Souls have been getting. So it's pretty interesting. And plus, with this medal, they're probably wanting players to feel more of an advantage in PvE and PvP because all soldier ants attack. That's something every single player loves to get, and getting each one of these, I believe it's Generation 5 insects for the synergy, or Generation 6?
Generation 5, I think it is. Generation 6 is the ones coming out now, right, Guppy? I'm not.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Generation 5 Rainbow.
So, like,
Gladiator.
if it continues on schedule, the
Mhm.
next insect coming out should be a shooter insect that would fall into Generation 6. And if they continue with the same pattern, that would mean that, like, Gladiator Mantis would be offered in another future event at a discounted rate. And then also after that, it would be a carrier-based Universal Synergy insect, and Para would be offered. But like I said, it's more so the timing between than it is the actual, offering of this. Like, I think in the long run, it's a great thing, especially for players that, go after a certain insect that may assist in their main lineup, but doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to grab every single insect. So
Yeah.
we'll see how it plays out, but I think for the at least our server range, because if I'm not mistaken, Jake Dog, has Para come out in your range
Yeah, so
yet?
the Mantis came out 2 weeks ago, and then the Para came out 1 week ago. And
Okay, so
the Gladiator, the Scarab came out like many months ago.
okay. So as you can see, like, even in the newer servers, they're pushing out these 5th generation insects right now. So you may see where they will wind up getting the 6th generation insects, maybe 6 months from now, 7 months from now. So it kind of speeds up the process, and by speeding up the process on the newer servers, they kind of catch up to the older servers, because the reality of the situation is this: that, like, when we go to
Mhm.
events and we're signing up for Lost Island and Baron and stuff like that, you will expand the amount of players that you're going to interact with, right? So it's not fair for a 900 level server to come up against level server number 2, let's say. Okay. But if you are able to build up an alliance that is strong enough and whatnot, then it becomes less likely and more players will be able to interact. And then on top of that, the server ranges increase because of it. As I was stating before the show, we had we had a merge not too long ago of Group 2 and Group 3, us being in Group 3. So it opened up quite a vast amount of players that could now enter into Group 3 and vice versa. So we saw a lot of movement with that happening. There were teams that got significant improvements in like active players that came to them. Other alliances that were maybe on the cusp of breaking apart due to internal problems, they wound up finding other alliances to merge with. So you're seeing this movement around as the groups increase. I suspect that the next merge will probably be Group 1 and Group 2, which a couple months ago was Group 2 and 3. So that and then there may be another one that, like, now the new Group 3 and Group 4 kind of merge together at the same time. So you'll wind up seeing much more active servers and a lot more improvement in the game, I think, because of it. The more active players you can get together to join teams and go off to events, the better off it is for the entire game, because you're going to have a much funner event, or more fun event. I think Nim and Draco and Otto can probably attest to that, being that they're in a pretty active and strong alliance. And, currently the alliances that were able to line up with them on their last event was, in my opinion, probably they were dominating. I mean, I don't know if you guys would agree or not, but from the pictures I saw, I think you guys marched almost unopposed or lightly opposed compared to what you want, And I don't know if you may have won the event, but I don't know how fun it was for you guys. I'll let you guys discuss that though, since you were on the actual event.
Yeah, Nim, you want to discuss that?
Yeah, I mean it's kind of the struggle of being in a large alliance that's strong and active in sort of our range, that we tend to get how do you want to put it delicately? We get the fighting starts, but that once people see how active and how much participating we do, I think that a lot of them don't see them beating us, so they sort of back down, which can be frustrating by the end. I mean, we did have a lot more good battles in the beginning of this event. But near the end they felt that they were going to deny us champion points, and that was sort of their revenge on us being so active, which, I mean, fair enough. Like, it was fun. We still have fun. I have fun every event because I like the whole game experience, whether I'm fighting or any of those things. So
yeah, I've been in both situations, being up against teams we don't have a chance of beating, and I've been in situations where we just steamrolled the entire map. So I understand it, and like you said, that tends to be, it goes one way or the other. But what I hope and think is going to happen is, as it continues, and more teams merge together and come together, that there'll be another team that's going to be coming up against you, for example, that is going to be more at your activity level and strength level. And it does make for a better experience, in my opinion. I mean, I like being in those fights that nobody knows what the outcome's going to be. Like, you may battle for hours and hours over one tower and nobody knows which way it's going to go. Even if we wind up losing that tower or losing the event, just those type of battles for me are a lot better than, people giving up in the middle of the event or a couple weeks in.
I think for us, that's the overall mentality. Like, we are there to put up our best effort. And even if we are sinking, we are going to fight until the end, because you just do not know what is going to turn that battle, whether it's your opponent's activity time. Like, there's so many variables to winning or losing. So it's a matter of, like, we just don't give up. We're like push until the bitter end, or row.
Yeah, exactly. Like, for me personally, like, before Vic, I've been in a few alliances and I've never won a season with them at all. But still, for me personally, I'm huge for player versus player games, like, huge. So even if my alliance is losing by a lot, I'm in there fighting no matter what, trying to push. Like, to me, if you're going to season, get the best out of it. Especially the more champion points you get, everything means better rewards. So, in my opinion, ship's going down. I'm staying on it to the last second. And that's my opinion. But, some players are different. If they are losing, they don't find enjoyment in continuing fighting. But, it's always better to go down and have a blast. But, that's my opinion.
I totally agree.
Yeah, right? Like, you've lost seasons, I'm assuming.
Yeah, Yeah, we just got our first win, and sadly, it was kind of an experience, just like you said. Like nobody really wanted to fight us, and it was honestly more boring than the other Lost Islands where we didn't win. But it was still nice to get a win under the belt.
That is for sure, especially the nice little clover you get too is really nice, but it just kind of makes the game not really that fun, especially for the
You
team
know,
who's winning. Hmm.
we play a game of ants here, but I did have a few ducks fly south into our server, so that's been a pleasant experience so far. So we'll see how that continues, and but yeah, my PVE scores are definitely getting knocked down a couple notches because of those quackers. So, but they are a funny bunch. I will tell you that. I'm telling you, like in the grand scheme of things, the merging of servers and bringing players, naturally the progression of these games go where there's drop off, right? Like people play it
Mhm.
for a year, they drop off, a couple years, drop off, So servers do tend to depopulate, and so when they do these merges, and you have like other groups of players coming into servers and whatnot. I wish they would open migration because it is a pain in the butt to try to get an entire alliance, their farms in by jumping around different alliance shells in the alliance and bringing them in. But it is ultimately it's a great experience because, like I said, you meet people that you didn't have it much interaction with before because they were never in your server range. So as you go to events, you meet all these different alliances and like-minded active players. You can all get together and kind of enjoy the game. And so I hope there's more merges going on in the future and more stuff like that because, like I said, it's an overall positive experience in my opinion. So,
Yeah,
but anyway,
exactly.
the that brings us to something else that someone posted in the live uh, in the Stage Topics channel that uh, I don't know. I'm kind of curious on your guys' take on this because my opinion is a little bit maybe I guess kind of mad about this. You guys may disagree or not, but I guess I'm so pre-programmed and used to building day being just a complete waste of a day for me because in our range we have like not had any buildings to build for quite a long time. So we went months and months and actually probably over a year of not being able to build anything. So um, the solution to this originally, and I just posted in the live chat, but I'll discuss it verbally. So, someone posted that most of us are out of buildings. It's like we're forced to do island to be able to get 9 shells on build day. The days after island, we are back to getting 3, maybe 4 shells. Maybe give us a building we could level to 25 and reset back to 0. That way, we can get 9 shells each build day. So, I don't know if this was addressed in their server range, or maybe this player just isn't following up on the updates that have happened to the game. But basically, build day has been a bust for most people in server 2 through, I would say, maybe. You guys are in the 800s, right? Are you close to not having
Yep.
any buildings to upgrade? Or are you at the point of no buildings to upgrade?
For me personally, I actually still have quite a few buildings. Because I've been actually hearing when I not first started, but halfway through, that players were actually running out of buildings to level up, and build day was getting very tedious for them. So, I actually took advantage of seasons because for me personally, I love seasons. I need a break from server. Even 2 days in server, I need a break from server. So I'll I'll actually stop at 8 shells on season. It's nice getting the 9 shells, extra rewards, but I just know that one day going in server, I'm not going to have anything to build. So I've actually slowed down my building levels just so I can try to prolong the amount of shells I can actually get, especially in server. But how about you, Nim?
I've got a few straggler buildings left to upgrade. I started to once I noticed that the older servers were starting to struggle with build days, I sort of started rationing, but I've gotten to the point where I haven't been able to get to 9 shell for a while, if we're not on event. So definitely would love some form of solution. Do I know what that looks like? No, but that day is like, and especially having like gathering day and build day back to back, you're like, like there's
So
really.
that's kind of where I'm going with this. So, okay. So like basically originally the solution for running out of buildings was the introduction of the enhancement of buildings during the season. So when players were on event Lost Island first, and then Barren Land, and now Vast Jungle, players can enhance their buildings and earn points towards SVS build day. Now, it's a catch-22, to be honest with you, on that event, because a lot of players want to chase after that target of 40,000 honor. So you can either enhance these buildings off of the build day and sacrifice build day SVS points, or you can wait until build day and enhance a bunch of buildings, because you're earning resin as you're hunting and doing lizards and stuff like that. You can also grab resin from the season store. You can grab resin from packs, whatever. However you gain your resin, the solution to build day was to enhance during SBS build day, so you can gain points that way. Now, like I said, most people are going to these events because they want to fight it out, and so they're trying to get this 40,000 honor so they can have higher fungi limits and faster recharge of the fungi. So some people will wait for build day and do it all on build day so they can hit 9 shells. Others will do it earlier and sacrifice build day, and some people do a combination of both. I fall into the camp of doing a combination of both. I will try to save up for build day so I can hit more shells, but also I'm trying to chase after that 40,000 honor, so I will throughout the hit a couple colony actions on off build day just to get somewhere. But however each player plays it out, that was the original solution. Then recently they came out with earning points through spending stamina on build day. So that has been a significant improvement to the game, because like I said, players that went from 0 shells can now hit some shells on build day. You're not going to be able to get 9 shells doing the spending of stamina, but if you go into build day with 100 stamina on each unit, and at reset, at the start of SVS on build day, so either 30 minutes in or 4 hours in, depending on if it's after Groundhog or if it's after kill event. If you start spending stamina at that point and you have 100 stamina on each unit, you should be able to hit 6 shells. I think that's kind of like the target that most players can do without anything. But that it does require some dedication, because like I said, you have to be online right when SBS starts for that day, and you have to spend all the stamina in all of your units all day, never letting it hit and reach 100 again. So constantly hunting, hitting hills, doing geckos or lizards. I'm sorry, lizards, because there's no geckos on server. But then that now runs another issue that you cannot pre-gather for a long time because you basically have to spend stamina from the beginning of SVS till the last minutes of SVS. So now you go into gathering day without having to pre-gather. So it is still possible to attain 9 shells that way, but you have to be in cultivator class. You have to, basically knock out all of your tasks and be gathering the entire time. So it's very difficult the way they've done it to be able to do it. So, if anyone has questions on it, you can message us and we can go into a little bit greater detail, or we'll bring it up during one of the other stages again. But there are some definite pluses and minuses to it. But to answer Z-Click's post there is definitely manners to do it. You're not going to hit 9 shells, but if you run out of buildings. But for now, it is a good solution, I think, until they somehow come out with Queen 30 that we've been hearing about forever. So, you guys, how do you handle that?
Mm-hmm. Sorry, Saul?
How do you handle it?
Well, like I mentioned, I slowly upgrade, honestly. I just know eventually that we're not going to be able to get 9 shells every day. So, I do think, honestly, that the devs are planning something, because this has been something so many players have been expressing their opinion about, right? Because, especially it's easier to max all the levels on your building than it is to level up and get T10s or even 2 T10s. So those creature remains are really needed, especially getting them for every single war zone. So, I feel like the devs are planning to maybe release a new building or 2 or something, but like Leg said in chat that Queen 30. I've even, mentioned that, but there's been some players who don't agree with that because, the cost, and also actually just basically the cost, and even, leveling, or sorry, not leveling, speeding up the time for that. Can you imagine how long it will take to build from Queen 25 to 26? It'd probably be like a month or something. But something needs to happen, and the devs have tried to fix it and help players by having in server spending stamina. So for me, I'm not the best at this, but I know some players will actually not use any stamina or very little. So when Warzone opens, they spend all their stamina right away, and that helps. So that's one thing. Hopefully we can see some more buildings enter the game. I'm not too sure what they would do, but something needs to be done.
Yeah,
Definitely
that's true.
something. Yeah, but Jake Dog, how about you? How's your building going? I know you're on the newer server, but you have not maxed everything out, right?
No, but there are definitely some players that have on my server. Like we used to push pretty hard in Warzone, try to win. Um, but we learned pretty quickly not to do that on build day. I have quite a few buildings to upgrade because I do take advantage of the season. But I noticed like on my farm, it has more buildings up to 25 because it just stays on the server most of the time.
Mm.
We do have a
Well,
hand up, so I am going to bring that player up. Or Draco, could you do it for me real quick, please?
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Badro. Sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Send you a little invite. So whenever you're ready, come on up and ask whatever question or if you have any opinions on any discussions we've talked about.
Also,
Mhm.
while we wait for him to come up on stage, I do want to cover another factor that came in during the update that affected us this time. I don't know if you guys have not been back on event, right? But this was a huge quality of life improvement for myself. So I am like so geeked about it. But it did kind of freak me out a little bit. So when you land on event now, there has in the past always been this season tutorial that you were forced to go through. And now there is a nice little button that says, "We see that you have been on a season before. Do you want to skip the tutorial?" And you hit confirm, and boom, done. Go on about your business. But I will tell you one thing that you have to check because it affected me and it was kind of funny. So during the tutorial, one of the first aspects of the tutorial is your troop marches and captures a level 1 node, right? So I went and captured all my nodes like very quickly, and upon landing on server, I was able to capture like level 8s. And so I totally forgot about the 1 node because I didn't go through the tutorial. And so like 5, 6, 7, 8 hours later, I went back and looked, and sure enough, I had this little level 1 node as one of the ones I captured. So I'm like, oh damn, had to release it and grab a level 8, but it was kind of funny. So that's the only thing I can say is remember the tutorial forces you to grab a level 1 node. So you have to dismiss that node if you skip the tutorial. So that's the only thing that I would say is to look out for. But other than that, amazing part of the update was not having to freaking go through that tutorial. So I'm sure my feelings are mutual across the board because that has been a complaint of players for since events have started, being forced to go through that tutorial time and time again. So finally, there's one more aspect that I do want to cover on the up. Oh no, there's actually two, right? The next aspect is something that's going to affect many players, and then the one after that is going to affect only the most advanced of players. But the first one is with the meteor building. Okay. Now instead of one additional there's this pack that's available for the meteorite building where it's in the US it's $4.99. Gives you 6 different metals, different colors that allow you to do additional tasks towards the meteorite dispatch. Before in the past, you were only able to send one. Now you're able to send 2 at a time. I was hopeful that they were going to introduce petals in the other categories again. That has not happened as of yet. Whether they do that in the future or not is to be determined. But for now, you can dispatch those petals 2 at a time now instead of 1. So you do get the task done faster, which is a good thing. The other aspect of that also is this quick dispatch. So now instead of actually having to physically pull the ant and place it into that task, you can hit the quick dispatch. It'll automatically dispatch best available troops to give you not only the main portion of the task, but also the additional bonus that you get. So it'll always place ants that are going to give you the maximum reward from the dispatch. So that's another quality of life improvement that definitely helps out players. All of that was good. Now, I am going to show you guys pictures. I do not want to be attacked or DM sent to me or anything. These are not from my account. Okay. But one of the updates that was made on the last update was to the Reform Cooperation building.
Mm-hmm.
Basically increased the level that it could go to. Prior to, it was 50. Now 60 is the max. Okay. So the pictures I'm posting now are a player that has been able to improve past the 50. They were actually able to get to 55 on all 3 levels. And the reason they were able to do that, like so close after the update was done, was they continued to collect the Reform Essence that is available through branches and during events and packs and stuff like that. So immediately when the event went live, they were able to get, I think, up to like 54 or something like that on one of them and 55 on the other 2 from what they were able to do. Now, also, there is kind of a stopgap in place for them to continue to go to 60. If you ever do reach 50, okay, there. Oh yeah, the pictures are loading. Sorry, guys. So in live chat, if you're watching, so
There it is.
if you are able to hit 50, there is or I think you have to hit. I'm sorry, you have to hit 60 on each of the 3 main components of the sort of reform. When that happens, there is a additional reform boost that gets placed on that. So in order to go from 55 to 60, that reform
Mm-hmm.
boost has to be level 30 on every single portion of it. Okay. So I posted
Oh.
2 more pictures to kind of show players, but you have to have level 30 on each of these categories of the reform boost in order to proceed to go to level 60. And one of the pictures that I posted kind of showed the materials that are needed in order to bring it up. You know, those materials basically get fed. This player is currently level 25 on one, working towards 26. But as you can see, the upgrade materials are pretty significant that are needed to like boost that up. So I think it'll be a minute before they're able to continue to get to level 60 on the improvement. But that's kind of where it stands. So again, this isn't gonna. I'm not gonna delve too deeply into it because it affects a very small minority of players that are going to get to this point anytime soon. So no need to really continue. One of the things I do want, and I'm going to have Guppy go into much more detail about it because we spent probably about 2 or 3 hours yesterday, last night, early morning, however you want to look at it, discussing the future here and ant lineups. So this is something that is coming out very soon. I honestly expect it to be out next week, after reset. But Black Knight Awakening is coming into the game. So with that being said, Guppy, do you want to kind of explain its skills, what the Awakening is going to do, and potential lineups that are going to form new metas in this game is what it's going to look like.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of controversy over this awakening at the moment. So I'll just
Oh.
go. Yeah, I'll go over the awakening first. Let's see. I'll talk about the max part of it first. So during the battle, Black Knight has a 60% chance to reduce the combat skill release times required to activate the 8th skill by 1. Right. And the most controversial part of this awakening is the second part of it. right? When an enemy squad is under control, all of its attributes are reduced by 60% for 1 round, and the effect is stackable. Now,
Ooh.
what's interesting about that, right, is when you're looking at a battle report, what falls under all attributes? You guys know
What?
which stats fall into that? And you got your attack,
Uh,
your defense,
Defense.
your health, your
Yep.
skill attack, your
Yep.
skill defense, and combat speed. So,
Yeah.
I mean,
Those are all considered attributes, right?
yeah, they're all considered attributes. So
I'm gonna
it's
post that too, so you guys can kind of see what we're talking about.
mm,
But if you go to troop attributes, everything there in a battle report is considered an attribute.
yep. So and this is what's making it so controversial right now, right? Because we're not quite sure how the stackable part is affected, right? Because you could have, I mean, it could be multiple different ways. Uh, there's been controversy as if only if Black Knight were to put control statuses on squads. So its skill has a silence and a disarm, right? If that's the case and it's stacking for that, that means all attributes are going to be reduced by 120% at most, right? Because you can only put 2 control effects on a squad from Black Knight.
Yeah.
Or the other part of the awakening, which is controversial, is does any control effect from any squad cause that to happen? And, I mean, if that's the case, I mean, it's a kind of a game-breaking awakening. I mean, think about
Yeah.
this, right? If you get a 120% reduction of your skill attack and skill defense and your combat speed, I mean, the enemy is just going to be hitting you with pillows at that point. I mean, that's huge. I mean, what do you guys think about that?
Honestly, that
Yes, sir.
yeah, my gosh. Like for me personally, I don't have BK, but I know a few players who do, and I think there's someone in Vic. I don't know if Nim or Otto can confirm, but I think they already have it at 7 or 8 stars. So pretty sure once that Awakening comes out, they're definitely going to have it on there, especially if it's going to affect their enemies' stats. That's going to be huge, especially in season and defending a tower too.
Yeah,
So
it'll be huge.
last night's powwow that I had with Guppy, I think we were up till 4 a.m. discussing it, right? Maybe 3 for you.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we were definitely having some disagreement on what is considered attributes and how this is going to affect it. So it's going to be very interesting when it comes out, so we can actually see it in action, do some testing on it. But if you notice on the battle reports, and there is a percentage sign next to attack, defense, special attack, and defense, and health. But under combat speed, there is not. Okay, so the fact that it's worded in the awakening skill showing that it is a percentage reduction, my argument is that it won't affect combat speed only because combat speed is a fixed number and not a percentage. I think that's done purposely, but it is possible that it could. So we're going to kind of see if that's going to be the case. The other aspect, as Guppy mentioned earlier, is what this definition of stackable is, whether it's going to affect the percentage or how many rounds are actually going to be affected by it, or if the determining factor was when a control, what does it say, Guppy, exactly? Like a control to initiate it, it's during the when an enemy squad is under control, all its attributes are reduced by 60% for 1 round. So does that control mean by Black Knight itself or any other ant that is in the lineup or insect placing a squad into a control status. Okay,
Yeah,
because that's going to play a huge factor on whether or not this awakening is a game changer. I will tell you that from experience, the awakenings have not been huge game changers. They definitely help these ants, but they are. This one seems to be a little bit more so because depending on how it's going to operate, you know, the entire formation that Black Knight is in is going to make a big factor on how well this awakening works. And go ahead, Guppy, and give us your take on it.
Yeah, I mean, the wording on that part is really strange because it doesn't actually necessarily say that it needs to be under control by Black Knight, right? But I mean, let's say that it could be under control by multiple different squads, or anytime it gets under control from a different status, either like silence, suppress, exhaust, disarm, whatnot. You know what I mean? Um, I mean, that could be, if it is that case, I mean, that could go up to what, 240% reduction? I mean, it's massive. And you could zero out whales for skill attack. So I mean, if it's that, if that is the case, where it's any squad that puts the enemy squad under control, that automatically drops their attributes. It's going to be game breaking, right? I mean, even if it's just Black Knight, though, max would be 120% because it's got the silence and the disarm. But even then, I mean, what most players' skill attack and skill defense are, I mean, what, between 120 and 180% around there. I mean, minus the super whales, who have about 200%. But I mean, it's huge, right? And there are squads that would benefit from this most, right? So here, I'm gonna post a picture. For example, this lineup right here, just constant control effects, just all day long. So if it does play a part of any squads that place the enemy squad under control effect, including the insect, I mean, the opponent's not going to be able to do anything at all. Period.
I mean, you basically have a situation where you have an insect and all three ants have some sort of control status. So there is almost a 0% chance that one or more control skills won't proc in that situation. Basically what you're trying to say, right?
Right.
And that's what my understanding of it. So if the awakening will work on any control status being placed on any troop, this thing's going to proc off this awakening. And if it's maxed, it'll be anywhere from 30 to 60% reduction in all attributes. So of course, like stated earlier, it may not affect combat speed because that's not technically a percentage, but just a 60% reduction in skill attack and defense, that's knocking someone's ability in half, right? In most cases. So that would be huge. How it stacks would compound that issue. The only thing I think where it's going to limit things is it does mention 1 round. So it's, a battle consists of usually 8 rounds, depending on how quickly one player is overpowering of another player. Some battles only last 3 rounds or 2 rounds if you're fighting an overpowered player compared to you. But for the most part, battles last 8 rounds, right?
Right.
So
Yep.
how much do you think this is going to affect it, Guppy? Like, if it does only last 1 round and fizzles out, you still think that's enough to, like, really make it a game changer?
Well, yeah, because I mean, the reduction will last 1 round, but the next time it's that squad's turn and the debuff falls off, right? They could get stacked on with another debuff, right? So the original debuff would fall off, but then they could get stacked on with the debuff again.
Okay.
And it's kind of broken in my opinion. I mean, to the point, I mean, if you hit all squads, right, the enemy's just not going to do anything. I mean, even if they're super whales, right, you could reduce them massively to the point they still can't do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, especially depending on which control effect gets placed on them.
That's true as well. Which one do you
So,
think would be more effective, control effect wise?
probably silence and disarm. Exhaust is huge too. But I mean, I would say silence and disarm, right? Silencing stops skill attacks, disarm stops normal attacks. So yeah, I mean, both of those are probably the massive ones.
Okay. Okay. Ah. So
It's
basically, yep. Sorry. Go ahead, Saul.
It's gonna definitely be interesting. I'm really looking forward to seeing testing of this when it comes out. Personally, I think I'm gonna try Guppy's formation for sure, to see how effective it is. I do not have Black Knight, but I will definitely be getting that in spades to test this out once I see. Some of my friends have it, and I'm gonna ask them to do some testing on it. I think one of them is in our audience here. He's probably pretty excited. That White Tiger, he likes these things.
Well, I mean, what I will say about, I mean, the only positive thing I see coming out of this, if it is the case, and this is how this awakening works, is Black Knight can really synergize with any other type of ant, right? So I mean, let's say you run Carpenter Ant, CR, Black Knight in the back because you want the Black Knight to stay alive as long as possible to allow that awakening to take effect as many times as possible, right? So I
Uh-huh.
mean, you could run a dodge meta with Black Knight in the back, right? I mean, even that right there is would be very very solid because its skills work. They synergize with any type of ant.
Okay, see, I never thought of Black Knight being put in the back. I always thought should always be up front.
Well, you gotta understand. One of its skills is a passive skill that affects its friendly troops, and the other
Yeah.
skills are they all have a range of 5, so you can put it in the back.
You
I mean,
know,
depending.
I think with EJ too, in a GSS formation, this thing's gonna freaking pop off, allowing EJ to do massive damage while this thing procs off in one round. I mean, think about it.
Oh yeah, big time.
You silence. Let's say you reduce a player's stats by 60%. Okay,
Mhm.
and then EJ comes in for the kill. I mean, you could wipe out players, and let's say a player that would last 8 rounds against you, you might wipe them out in 5, might wipe them out in 3, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So just depending, but yeah, it's going to definitely be interesting to see how this plays out. I really am looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely gonna see a lot of Black Knights in people's marches now.
Guppy,
Uh,
tell the white tiger never to leave my alliance because I don't want to get hit by his troops once this comes out.
Don't ever leave his alliance. You're scaring him. You're scaring him.
So
hmm. So then Nim, I know me and Nim here have EJ, and I gotta say for myself, EJ's been amazing for me. It's only been it only will be 7 stars for me at the time, but Nim, looking at how Black Knight has, you know, been performing without an awakening, and the awakening coming, would that be an ant you'd be considered getting?
Oh, it's tough. That's a tough call because I'm traditionally an insect buyer, but I love my EJ a lot. So, oh, like I said, it's going to depend on who wants to buy my liver because that is a lot of bidding, bidding.
It is. It is a lot.
Yeah,
Um,
but if it's worth it, and if you are able to spend that kind of money, that would be, something to look into.
I think too it would be easier if I was closer on my T10 Guard Evo as well. I mean, if I was looking at doing some kind of mixed march, but oof, I'm waiting for that shooter insect. That's what I'm waiting for.
Yeah, so I'm actually wondering, hmm, it's been what, Guppy, a month? Or not even a month since the Guardian one has come out, right?
not. I don't think it's been a month yet. But I mean, with the way they're doing things now, I mean, we could possibly see it, either this week or next week. I mean, they seem to be moving pretty fast on implementing those things right now. I don't know if
Yeah,
they have
really.
yeah. I mean, I'm not sure if they have a goal in mind as to what they're trying to accomplish. Maybe they're trying to prep for something that's coming up. Who knows?
Hmm.
But I mean, I would love to see them implement insects into the branch shop. Um, just
Mhm.
all
Oh
pass
yeah,
insects.
that that would be cool.
I mean, that
Yeah,
would be something.
that's a tough one, man. I mean, ugh, that would be great, but
Can you
ugh,
elaborate?
well, it would be tough because people are grabbing like so. I think that the hill skins are probably the go-to for those branches, right?
Hmm.
Mhm.
And but once people grab all of the hill skins from those branches, then the only thing that becomes available is the reform
Yeah.
essence for cooperation, right?
Hmm.
So if all of a sudden they introduce insects, those people that have been just spending on the reform essence will be very upset, myself included. I'm not gonna lie, because if I could have saved that essence towards an insect or something, that would have been definitely the play.
Right.
So
I mean,
But yeah, sorry, I was just gonna say quickly, speak about insects and all that. I feel like it's about due that we see oh my goodness, what is it called again? The daily activity
oh
points.
yeah, to go into stage 2, huh?
mhm.
Yes. I feel like it's about time for that to be unlocked because, I'm wondering what will be in there. Will they continue the trend of insects or will they actually switch it up?
Well, I don't know.
Hmm.
I mean, the way it read is the um, items would improve as you went into further stages. So I would say they went out strong with doing the insects. So I think that it will be an increase. Maybe select an insect for the grand prize from the next generation, or 15 exotic shells.
Ooh.
We'll see.
And Guppy, do you still have that chart of the different generation insects? Because right now I'm trying to figure out what will the next generation be after Devil Flower and all those.
Let's see. Give me a second. Let's see if I can find it. Um,
Because I've seen a lot of players who haven't spent any money besides the classic Avatar frame, and they're obtaining these insects. So it'd be nice to see if we are able to get the next generation that they can utilize. For example, Devil Flower instead of having Mantis or the purple tier one.
Mhm.
to have something better. Ah, you posted it, and Discord doesn't want to load.
Also, for
Ugh.
anyone, before we wrap up stage, please, if you haven't done so already, go into the live ID channel, post your live IDs. We'll make sure that the fairy sends you out something nice. Again, if you have missed any of our past stages, want to get caught up, we do have stage video channel. You can watch the YouTube stream of this event at your leisure. But thank you guys for all the support. We do really appreciate it. And go ahead, you can continue on with the insect discussion here, guys.
Yes, thanks. Just quickly, okay, so it seems like they are on the generation of where the insect plan is actually right now. Or, sorry,
Mhm.
if they do go on the next generation 3, that'd be
I think
pretty interesting.
was generation. I honestly can't remember with the activity points. Was generation 3 the one that was in for the rewards? Iron
No,
Beetle,
it was
Wasp, and
generation.
That was generation 2.
Yeah, it
was
was the
generation
same.
2?
It was the
Okay,
same
so
ones
Yeah.
that were in the monthly insect pack, so it makes sense for it
Are
to be generation 3.
Jake,
okay.
are you in your server? Are you still going through stage 1, or have you completed it?
For the activity points, we've already completed.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Well, like most players have completed it, I think.
Okay. Is
Oh,
there someone posted in here some of the what server number are you in,
We're in
or range?
1135.
Okay.
Like
So there's
that I
still
believe
old
came out for us the
there's
same
still
time it did for you. Sorry.
yeah, but I'm saying there's still newer servers that definitely have not been able to get through it, you know,
Yeah.
because, if you started in server 1300, let's say, no possible way you could be through it yet. Just not enough time.
yeah. So maybe they might continue it for a little bit longer, or who knows, they might do it like they've been doing for the older servers, have them get the newer releases, and then after some time, the newer servers will be able to unlock it. So, it's very interesting. I'm actually pretty interested to see when it comes out and what it will be able to obtain after a month or two of getting max dailies. I think it was 2 months.
I was a little
But
behind. I think I missed some coins at some point. I was freaking out that I was going to be forever behind, and then they haven't come out with stage 2 yet, so I was very relieved, but now it has been way too long, so let's see.
yeah, way too long. Oh my goodness, because I've missed a couple, or actually a few as well. I've been noticing players finally getting them, showing them off, and I'm like, ooh, I'm like a few hundred points behind.
Yeah, I think I was same as you.
Perfect. Well, anything else you guys would like to discuss?
Guppy,
Um,
Nim, before we wrap it up for the day.
no, I
I'm
mean,
good.
I think that pretty much covers it.
Hmm.
I'm
Yeah.
I
So,
just
yeah. Sorry. Go ahead, Sol.
I just have one thing to say. Quack.
Oh man. Well, just a quick thing
Oh,
too. I'm pretty sure the next event, because we just had oh my goodness, the Maze event. I think the next one will be I believe it's called the Treasure Cove Bee, where you do a little pew pew at the bees for the awakening. So I think we'll be seeing Black Knight's Awakening come out next. And if it does, we'll definitely be able to have some information and players will be testing it out and we can discuss it next week for live stage. So if anyone here is interested in finding out more, come by next week for live stage. So with
Thank
that
you guys.
said, yeah.
Thank you guys for joining us today, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Depending on what happens with Black Knight Awakening release, then the coming week or so, we may do another live during the week to discuss it a little bit further. If we can get some testing put in and see how much this is going to affect different lineups. But again, thank you guys, and for sure we'll see you next Sunday, if not sooner. Bye, everyone.
See you guys.
See ya.
Have a great weekend.
Bye, everybody.
Yeah. Take care, everyone. See you all next weekend. Enjoy.